Welcome to Softcore History.
Hello and welcome back to Softcore History. We are in the middle of Halloween horror months or spooky months, depending on who you ask here. My name is Jake Goldman, and I am joined, as always.
You're a little nervous today.
No,
Somebody spooked today.
I'm a little spooky.
Jake
My
had to
mouth
do it.
got haunted.
Jake had to do a second take to start the podcast. He didn't get his clap
I didn't
right.
get my clap right, and it's probably because of how haunted the story we're about to talk about is. Either way, that voice you hear is Rob Fox. How's it going today, Rob?
It's going good. It's going good.
Yeah.
Braves are up 2-0 in the NLCS. Ask me about that in a week.
Oh, I hate sports. We don't talk about sports on here.
No,
There's
it's baseball season, not football season.
It's spooky season. Anyway, Dan, what's up with you? Dan Regester, the other guy that we talked to.
Dude, I'm just excited for this topic. We're going back to back, 1920s Germany.
Yes.
Apparently, we're touching on a subject that Iconoblast is also covering today.
Not like in depth.
They did like a 10-minute segment. We have a full episode.
Yeah.
So we need to get this audio out before their video launches so we can
That's kind of crazy that like
topic cuck them.
That's kind of crazy that like that hasn't come out yet because obviously I wouldn't have covered this if I knew they were talking about it, but it's too late. I did my search.
Yeah.
So sorry, Coop.
Can't
Coop is
pivot.
switching today. We always
Audible.
appreciate that. Thank you, Coop. If you want to hear less about this topic, check out Iconoblast's new episode dropping very soon.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what we're going to be talking about today is the Hinterkaifeck murders.
Okay.
So on the evening of March 31st, 1922, on a remote farm in Bavaria, just 70 kilometers north of Munich, 6 members of the Hinterkaifeck family would be murdered in cold blood.
Oh, there
We're
was
not-
a name.
We're not fucking around today.
Yeah, we're getting
No small talk.
Wait, I can't talk about college football, obviously. None of us can talk about college football because none of our
I don't want it to.
Go
Yeah.
Braves.
Our team sucks.
It's baseball.
our teams are all bad.
Baseball, baby.
But is that your
baseball-
whole life? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, probably.
Sports?
For you.
Me?
Yeah.
No,
You're in like a depressing state
me?
at this point.
What? What did I do?
I mean, last week, fucking Jesse called you out
For being dumb.
the dumbest person on the show.
She somehow pinned your bit on
You know,
me. I
but
don't understand how that happened.
It's all relative. Like if you call someone the dumbest person in a laboratory,
And now
they're still
you've-
working in a laboratory, unless it's the janitor walked
You've
in.
been on kind of a downward spiral since. Like things aren't going well at home.
Things are going fine at home. What are you talking about?
I mean, your dog ran away.
My dog didn't run away.
That you know of now.
I gotta call my wife.
Yeah.
Sir, is my dog home? Is the dog home? No. Speaking of dogs, though, my dog's doing great. Big
Yeah, ever
Daddy
since
Dan
I
trained him.
fucking
yeah, that was the
Big
dog
Daddy
we were
Dan trained
speaking
him.
of.
Yeah.
Was that dog?
Yeah. He's doing good. I watched some sports.
Haven't
did some
been lifting,
housework.
clearly.
I have not been lifting.
I bought all my weights and they're just collecting dust. in your
I'm
garage
going to
right
eventually sell them back to you when you need them.
Dude, the whole point of working out is to show off for other people, pretty much. So why
Home
not?
gym makes no sense, actually.
No. What you do is you put the gym in your garage. I just always leave your garage door open. Like leave
Actually,
it open.
it's perfect weather for that.
Yeah,
right
leave
now.
it open several hours a day so the people, your neighbors and shit, can see that you own a home gym, and then they just think you work out, and that accomplishes most of what actually working out accomplishes, which is other people knowing that you work out.
Right.
Yes, it's true.
I mean, even though, like, when you go to the gym, you think everyone's looking at you. You think you're putting on the show. You're just front and center, but really no one's paying attention.
Yeah,
I was
You're just in your own head.
I was talking to noted other podcaster David Ruff about gym TikTok the other day.
Okay. Just out with noted other podcaster David Ruff.
I was too. I had a beer with him on Wednesday of last week, but we were talking about it, and it's like I think he showed me a clip or something like that you had sent him about a guy just like pretending to struggle with 225, and then when someone goes over to help him, like he just starts knocking out the reps, and it's like, God, gym humor. Like the guys that actually lift really hard aren't funny. They can't do humor.
No, like a Bradley Martin type.
I don't know what that means.
He's
but
an awful person.
yeah.
He sucks. I always get hit up. Probably the most requests I get these days is to bring back Substock with you. But I mean, the physical state you're in right now, I clearly can't do that.
Why would you not? Okay, here's for the fans. If you want Substock, the only way I'll do it is if Dan has to transform me.
I'll train you.
Dan has to come over to my house 5 times a week.
The Danny Regs method.
Yeah. And what is that? Like I have to drink a gallon of water and a gallon of milk
We
and do 100
eat
squats?
raw meat.
Raw meat. Okay.
Just raw meat diet.
Whatever, eat raw beef. They serve that in restaurants as a fancy appetizer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Normally it's not raw ground. Normally it's like raw wagyu.
Raw turkey
Yeah.
ground.
Raw foul via Dan Regis. Dan will show up to my house with a warm Ziploc bag of raw beef.
We
and be
lift
like,
really
"That's
heavy
fine."
until
Yeah.
you hurt yourself.
Yeah, and then you focus on other parts of your body until that part
And you
heals.
shift the pain to another part of your body.
Right.
And that's just your life now.
Dan is going to be like a 70-year-old that just can't move.
I'm going to be 50-year-old in a wheelchair.
It's pretty
But
generous.
look, it's so hot.
pretty generous.
So
You
hot.
have him living
You
till
have
70.
to build. Dan's method is to acquire enough mass so that when his body gives out on him, it'll take until he dies for it to atrophy into nothing.
I'm trying to get enough
Yeah.
mass that I have my own gravitational pull. Yes.
Yes.
I mean, you're just going to be obese eventually. Like
I
you're
was.
going to be a fat old man.
I did that.
I know,
Oh.
but you're going to be like a
For
fat
6
old
months.
Man. Yeah.
For 6 months, I thought I was yoked, and I was 230 pounds of just beefiness.
Beefcake.
Doughboy.
Beefcake.
I was doughy. I mean, there's a lot of TFM videos that I'm glad they deleted. Because boy, howdy, did I not look great.
Speaking of deleted TFM stuff, they also deleted the episode you brought me back on after I got fired. And I was like, yes, I'm fired.
What, Substock?
Yeah, I did one
Christ.
episode where I had been fired. And I was like, well, I'll do one
No,
more.
we did it at my house. I
Yeah.
deleted it because
Did they ask you to? Because I'm sure they did. It was depressing. It was super depressing.
it was
Like, I don't
pretty
have a job.
depressing.
I don't know what
like,
to do.
I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's just get rid of that episode.
Yeah, that's not a sad. That was a pretty sad episode. Nothing good happened on it.
3 men, 4 firings.
You know what episode's still on YouTube though? Is the episode I Came Back, where Rob got fired from TFM and then I got rehired
Yeah.
and replaced him on the Inside
Yes.
TFM
I
podcast.
do remember
I believe it was called Enter Dan Man. And actually, it
Probably good episode.
was a pretty good episode. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
If you
pretty
go back
good.
and listen to it,
When we got Jared on it after Rob was fired and Jared was on it full time, it actually wasn't bad. Jared held his own.
Inside TFM, that podcast?
yeah, we did a bunch of bits. And I remember we had Dylan on one episode and we convinced him that we would say the Pledge of Allegiance every episode. to
Well,
lead
you
off.
did this because you knew he was bad at his job and wasn't actually paying
I'm not going
attention.
to say anyone's good or bad at their job.
No, that's
we were
what
just saying
literally
we-
was the point of the bit because you knew he wasn't paying attention to the content he was supposed to be managing.
We knew that he didn't listen.
Yes.
So we created a bunch of bits that we were like, yo, we do this every week. Yeah.
We created the "Hey you fucking" I think was one of them.
Jersey boys.
Hey you fucking.
Hey,
you fucking.
you fucking.
Oh, you fucking. Oh, yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
We made him. We convinced him that we said the Pledge of Allegiance every episode. And
There's one more thing.
We also
Yeah.
We also like were very insistent that he needed to stand while we did it.
Yeah,
too.
while we did- and take his
'Cause-
hat off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take your hat off.
The entire point of that bit was to call him out for not doing his job.
Yeah, but I mean, I wish
So
the
like,
videos.
I'm not even trying to be. I'm not even the one that came up with that. Like I'm explaining what the bit is. I didn't come up with a concept.
we
of
didn't.
That.
We didn't have as much subtext as explained in that one, but yeah. Either way, that was very fun. And if the video still exists, I implore anyone to go watch it because the look on Dylan's face is fucking hilarious. He's just like, "What the fuck is happening? Like,
Yeah.
this is our number one podcast. This is what's going on." And it's like, yeah.
Yeah. How would he know?
The inmates are running the asylum here. But speaking of crazy shit, I'm going to go back to my topic if that's okay with you guys.
I mean, if you really want to, I guess.
Yeah, we got to talk about murder in
Sure.
Germany. Yeah, interestingly enough, there is a murder that was not solved. A couple murders. So
6, I believe you said.
6.
How many kids? Just
No,
get to the part that makes me
two
horny.
kids.
Cool.
So this
Also,
is.
can
Oh,
we
wait, so
just-
was it a weird family, like a weird old timey family where like there were just too many adults living in one house?
Oh, of course it was.
Yeah.
Can we just also bring up the point? This is exactly the same time that Peter Curtin, our topic last week with Jesse Wiseman, was around.
I tried to look up if there was any connection to that. Not
Connect the
really.
dots.
Yeah. He was in more of a northern part of Germany, I believe.
I mean,
he was in like Dusseldorf, right?
Yeah, there's no way he could have traveled there.
I mean, no. Dusseldorf is. So this took place at about 70 kilometers north of Munich.
Too far.
I mean,
Too far for that, man.
dude, Dusseldorf is like extremely far from Munich.
Yeah, let's do a podcast on where places are in Germany.
Well, so glad you asked. Dusseldorf, no, it's incredibly far. Yeah. So either way, this took place 70 kilometers north of.
By the way, this is just life at the time.
Yeah,
Serial killers everywhere. People fucking animals all the time.
sure. We don't have any animal fucking that we know of in this case.
Yeah.
But I mean, happened on a farm.
It happened on a farm. And here's the thing that we know of, right? So it's just happening in the background. Like he's walking through the countryside and somewhere behind a barn wall, something that's not a human is getting fucked by a human.
Yeah, if
More
anything's
than likely, yeah.
If you're keeping like houses at that time were just for hiding shame from God.
Yeah.
Yeah, the roof is to protect you from God's vision,
Yes.
and that's where you can do all the terrible things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So this is largely considered the most gruesome cold case in German history. We're coming up on the 100th year anniversary of it. No one has been caught.
Really?
for
Because
it.
they haven't caught all the SS guards. So I feel like there's some worse cold cases.
Whoa.
If I had to pick.
Well, a cold case that actually happened. Let me stir that pot. I like that a bunch of people laughed at that. That's at least good. We have a sense of humor here. Yeah,
Not in the reviews. It's fine.
no. People without senses of humor live in the comment section.
Like and review. Like and
if
review
you
the
have a
podcast.
comment on Jake's Holocaust denial joke, please leave a comment in the thing, in the review
on
section.
iTunes. Yeah.
Whatever.
Just
Anyway,
rate it 5 stars, please.
Yeah. Okay. So the victims that were murdered include the following people: Andreas Gruber, who was 63; Kazilia Gruber, who was 72. Andreas's wife.
Old. Look, if we were talking about these people in terms of COVID, we wouldn't even care. We'd be like, whatever, they're over 50, they're dead.
Okay. There's their widowed daughter, Victoria Gabriel, who was 35, and Victoria's 2 children.
Oh, well, she was too old to remarry anyway.
Yeah, what'd she have to do with her life left?
Who's going to marry a 35-year-old German girl in the 20s?
Well, some people fuck them, and then we're going to get to that.
Okay.
Kazilia was her 7-year-old daughter, and Josef was her 2-year-old son. Kazilia, if you didn't notice, has the same name as her grandmother, Kazilia Gruber. So that will get a little confusing, and I will specify the daughter when I'm referring to Victoria's
Say
daughter.
old Kazilia, young Kazilia. Well, she wasn't young, she was 35.
No. See, that's where we're going to get in trouble.
Oh, it's the granddaughter.
The granddaughter, Kazilia, 7.
Okay, old
So-
Kazilia, young Kazilia.
Yeah. And then Josef, too, the youngest of the Gruber Gabriel clan. He was 2 years old. Also in the mix was the maid, Maria Baumgartner. She was 44 at the time.
She got off too?
She was also off.
Well, that other chick was just saved from a life of being a maid, so...
Oh, and how well was that done? Because, Rob, I'll get to why that's a great comment in a minute. Well, we know 6 people died a gruesome and possibly
Yay.
psychologically tormenting fate on that cold evening almost 100 years ago. The leads for this case spanned over 100 individuals, thousands of hours of meticulous research, and exactly 0 convictions.
Yeah,
no one has been convicted for this
That
case.
makes sense, because what year was this again?
1922.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
remember the Peter Curtin episode literally last week where there are like 900,000 suspects?
Yeah.
Because it could be anyone.
Well, here's the...
What was was it the Visalia axe murders or whatever? The like famous axe murders where like some guy in like 1910, just some fucking hobo or who knows, just walked into a house, murdered 5 people, like a whole fucking family with an axe, and then just fucking left.
Yeah, this is the
And
German
they-
version of
Yeah,
that.
and they never caught him. And there was no way you ever could catch him. Because
Yeah.
if there's not a cop sleeping outside the home
As it's happening.
as it's
And
happening,
he stops the person. Okay.
Yeah.
You say that, but there's a suspect in here which I think we might all agree did it.
yeah.
You
Well,
know?
you know,
Yeah.
he's still at large.
In
maybe.
in the ground somewhere. Yeah. He's
Well,
probably dead. But anyway, either way,
so
tonight
he's
we're
not
gonna,
immortal is what you're saying.
that we know of.
Yeah.
Tonight we will be discussing the circumstances leading up to the murders, theories regarding the identity of the possible killer or killers, as well as some of the more horrifying details surrounding the Hinterkaifeck family themselves. While all these conditions make for an excellent Halloween Horror Month episode, what makes it even more particularly apt is how our story starts.
Comedically?
No.
Because we're funny, and
No,
then
Because this is a comedy podcast?
and then it's funny that they died.
No, I was referring how it's apt for Halloween Horror Months. It starts with a haunting.
Oh, so there's a ghost.
There is a ghost.
Why'd the ghost show up? Because he knew he was going to have new friends pretty soon?
So I'm just getting the place warmed up.
Or
Some
like
ectoplasm over here. That's good. They're gonna like that.
could have been like a turf war situation.
I don't know what's a low country
It's a
South
South Carolina,
Carolinian, but like just that. Is he gay? I don't know. What,
That's South Carolina.
Bojangles. I just want a bow biscuit minus the biscuit. If you catch my drift.
No Bajangle sauce for me.
I'll have a blueberry biscuit. Anyway,
And that's not a gay impression. That's a South Carolina
that's South
impression.
Carolina. It's also it's Seth Galifianakis.
Yeah.
If you ever want to do that,
It is,
accent.
yeah.
It's spot on.
It's like that's why it's maybe Lindsey Graham is actually gay. I don't know, but like it's always funny to me that people just basically assume it because of his voice, and I'm like, no.
It's actually just how
Look,
everyone.
maybe he is or isn't gay. I don't know, but the voice, you don't know anything about South Carolina if you're judging it off the voice.
Nope. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like it's they just have voices like little like flamboyant like country flutes.
They're just fancy. That's why
They're fancy boys.
I really, and Dan was gonna give me shit. He's like, oh, the one that you like wrote or whatever. But one of my favorite spare bedroom sketches was Todd Chrisley's Condom ad.
Oh, I forgot about that
I'm
one.
Todd.
Well, you didn't write that. It was just an ad lib.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just did it on the spot.
Yeah,
which
we
I
came up with it.
appreciated.
Whatever.
Yeah,
We should have done more of that instead of rehearsing and writing.
probably.
I'm Todd Chrisley for straight sex.
Hey, if you
Trojan
want-
straight sex condoms.
Is that anywhere? Can anyone get
You
spare
can
bedroom?
purchase spare bedroom on Apple.
It's still
Can you?
available.
It's still for purchase. We didn't just make it free.
No.
We should make
Don't
that
buy it.
free. Do not buy it.
Don't buy it.
Don't buy it.
It's a
If you-
real-
hey, hit me up. I will send you the fucking
It's
file.
a real.
all right?
Well, it's just a real rough draft.
I'll send you. It's yeah.
Here's the thing, though. That podcast that we wrote funny shit because we were like crying laughing when we were recording it.
Oh my god! Yeah, it was great when
We just didn't put it together the way we.
There's
needed
no
to.
one else laughing in the sound. Like it's hilarious to us because we're all feeding off each other's laughter, and there's no laugh track on that fucking
it's
thing.
whatever.
It took months to edit, no big deal. But also, we recorded it on pretty much an easy bake oven. so
Anyway,
Yeah.
well, speaking of that,
we might
dream-
have to redo that.
murdered dreams, murdered people. Let's get back to our fun show.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I wasn't trying to banter too hard with you about spare bedroom. I didn't mean to
No,
open
I
up
would
that
prefer to banter about spare bedroom.
over this.
This is depressing.
Oh, says you. Who gave us the curtain episode?
He was fun and flirty.
Yeah, he was fucking animals.
Nothing but fun there. My dad actually talked to me about. He's like, man, last week's episode was tough to listen to.
Yeah,
that
like,
was
That
disgusting.
guy went bananas.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I know.
It's one of
Dad.
our most listened to episodes that we have with the YouTube numbers.
Damn, Daniel.
Shouts to Jesse.
Thanks, Jesse. Anyway, so it starts with a haunted house. 6 months before the murders, the family's former maid quit. Just was like, I'm done working here. She feared that the house was haunted, and the reason for that is that she was telling her employer that she often heard footsteps and voices coming from the attic above her room at night. Whenever they investigated, nothing would turn up, and like they were like, "You got to stop complaining about this." Pretty much, we get it. You're scared, but like we keep going up in the attic. There's nothing up there. It's like it only happens at night, Mister. But they go up in the day. There's nothing there.
Oh, the ghost. Yeah, of course the ghost isn't here during the day. The vampire's not here during the day either.
Right? Exactly.
Okay.
No,
Come back at night.
And a lot of these kind of things are going to happen. We're going to be like, of course, this fucking happened to these people. So
Also,
Yeah, probably not a ghost. Again, probably a hobo. Just living in the attic.
I don't respect the maid's complaint because it's old-timey times, so every building's haunted.
everything's haunted.
Especially in Europe. Like, nothing's new there.
God,
Everything's haunted as shit.
just the sound. But I don't like how everything's attributed to hauntings, where it's like, this is an old house. It's a creaky house. Yeah.
Yeah. We
But-
built it out of unused boat wood. Like, yeah, like it's just going to be creaky.
Yeah.
And it's going to be built on some field that was probably, there's some massive battle on.
Everywhere
Most likely.
there is a structure, things have died in that plot.
Probably on a, what's the European equivalent of an Indian burial ground, like a Druid burial ground? Your house is over that.
Just a European burial ground,
Yeah.
tribal burial ground,
Right.
whatever, like Visigoth, fucking Celtics, wherever you are, there are barbarians or pagans that
If
fucking
you're in
died
Europe,
there.
it's haunted.
Yeah.
It's haunted. You go to a fucking Amsterdam sex house, a ghost is watching you get fingered by a prostitute.
Right. It's like my favorite thing is when like chicks go to like a wedding in the South. They're like, I get really good vibes from this venue. It's like, you do, huh? Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any good vibes here.
Yeah.
It's all slave land
Well,
or on plantation.
good
land.
times were probably had in the main house.
A lot of singing.
Yeah.
I was gonna-
In the main house.
The red light district goes to, it's going to be probably a better time.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
man, a hooker haunting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which begs the question, if you have sex with a ghost hooker, is it cheating?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
You're never getting her off, though.
No. I mean, dead or alive, what's the difference?
What was the old dumb saying? Like, it's not cheating if you're in a different zip code. Right?
I thought it was area code.
Area code? Either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Zip code is like down the street.
Part of the city.
That's like in a different neighborhood. Like could
be around the corner.
I moved a mile away, and that's
Yeah.
a different zip code from where. So it's not cheating if you're 4 blocks from home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
Another dimension, I'll give you that.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If it's another dimension, if you're crossing into another dimension.
Can you imagine if I'm sure
code.
someone has said zip code before.
4 blocks away.
Or what if
I think it's still cheating.
If you're 4 blocks away, the mice will play.
What if a couple had a area code cheating rules? Like, you know what? We're young. If you're in a different area code, it's fine. And the guy got confused and thought she meant zip code.
It's like, I banged your secretary.
Yeah, I just fucked her friend.
There was
at her apartment that's just in a different zip code.
There was a guy on Reddit not that long ago where they had a hall pass, but his girlfriend's hall pass was like a local DJ.
That's awful.
So it was like very, very like
Extremely
attainable.
achievable. Yes.
Yeah. She does it, and he's like, I don't know what to think. Like, she said it was her hall pass, but like, should I be angry? Like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not like it's fucking
You gotta-
McConaughey
you
or
didn't-
Brad Pitt. It's the fucking dude playing the ones and twos
No.
at a bar mitzvah
Fucking-
down the street.
Wait, it wasn't even like a famous radio DJ?
No, it was just some fucking
This is a
local
guy
DJ.
getting-
What?
Yeah. Probably
It
met her.
wasn't even mass media? It was just a fucking guy?
Probably met her
the
at the
guy.
gym,
Just a
dude.
fucking guy.
Yeah, it's like essentially it'd be like saying, yeah, my hall pass is just the girl that works front desk at Lifetime.
But no, my hall pass is the host of Softcore History.
I'll find him. God, that would be
If any of us are your hall passes, reevaluate your fucking
Seriously.
life.
And if we are the hall pass for any of your significant others, have a deep conversation with them about their choices. Anyway, here's some other weird things that happened leading up to the murders, not just the haunting that the maid described. Andreas Gruber, the father and patriarch, found a strange newspaper from Munich on the property in March of 1922. He could not remember buying it and initially believed that the postman had just lost the newspaper, but here's the thing. No one in the vicinity of the Hinterkaifeck plot was subscribed to the newspaper. And there weren't a lot of people around. So the postman's not dropping a newspaper off there.
So it's a lot of dummies don't care about the news.
Yeah. No. Why would
None of
they?
the Hinterkaifecks.
No.
Got it.
And in this episode, too, I'm going to remind you, like...
The mailman's dropping off the newspaper? It's not like a local paper boy?
There's not a local much of anything in this area. It's mostly just the woods. Hinterkaifeck also refers to the property itself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Hinter is something to describe land, right? Like,
I'm not sure. I didn't look up the etymology of it. You go for it. But they refer to the area because there's no there isn't any like municipality there as Hinterkaifeck itself because it's a lot of land in that wood. Just days before the murders, Gruber told neighbors he discovered tracks in the fresh snow that led from the forest to a broken door lock in the farm's machine room, but none that led back out. Couldn't figure out what happened there, but he just said, "Meh, whatever. Farm stuff."
The lock was open, but what was the second part of that?
So he found tracks that led to the machine room in the farm.
Yeah.
Footsteps leading up to it. There was a
Okay, but
broken,
no footsteps on the way out.
no footsteps on the way out. There was a broken door lock. There's no way in other than that door.
Yeah, homie's still there.
Imagine that, huh? Andreas also told neighbors that his keys had gone missing. This is all leading up to the events of the murder. Later during the night, they heard footsteps again in the attic, but Gruber found no one when he searched the building the next day.
Do you think it was a janitor ghost collecting keys?
Maybe. But we'll get to this. There's a lot of details in here. I hope you can kind of remember because I'm going to bring up some stuff. You're going to be like, wait a second. I'm going to be like, yeah, it's probably this guy. So although
the mailman? Is it the mailman?
It's not the mailman.
Oh, okay. That was the only even person I've heard of outside of the family so far.
Right. So they heard footsteps even after the maid moved out, but no one was there when he searched the building the next morning. Even though he told several people about all these alleged observations, like the keys and the paper and the footsteps, the footsteps in the attic and the footsteps leading up to the machine room, he refused to accept any help, and the details went unreported to the police. He even declined to borrow a gun from one of his neighbors to protect himself and his family after telling them that. They were like, hey, man, do you want a gun to keep your family safe? He's like, no.
What's a gun going to do to a
Yeah,
ghost
this
anyway?
isn't haunted.
Yeah.
Nothing's haunted here. Nothing is wrong. This
Yeah.
is sus to me about the father, by the way. Like, why is he just ignoring all this
Yeah,
shit?
he doesn't care.
Yeah.
A gun to a
He's
ghost.
62. So,
Okay.
and his
Ghost
wife's
to a
72 or like some-
non-believer.
So he doesn't believe in ghosts. He doesn't think a
Don't
person's there.
believe in-
He's not worried about the animals because he's already fucked all of them into
all he
submission,
cares
so-
about is chorin, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And he likes fucking too. But
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Plus, he's got bigger things to worry about, like his old daughter who's just mooching off of him.
His 35-year-old daughter?
Yeah, his old daughter.
I guarantee he was thinking a lot about her. On the day of the murders, there was a
boy.
lot going on at the Hinterkaifeck house. It was a Friday, and everyone was presumably wrapping up their chores for the week. And
TGIF.
yeah, I know. They're getting ready for, getting all excited for Saturday, and then, of course, Sunday, which is the biggest day in the middle of nowhere. That's church day where you get to see other people.
Yeah. What do you even do? What's like fucking exciting about a Friday in 1920 rural
Actually,
Germany?
nothing. They still have school on Saturday, and they still work on Saturday. So it's
Yeah,
a Friday.
it's just a day.
basically Friday.
It's endless.
It would be like Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're getting all jazzed up for Sunday fun day, I guess, in their minds. That's what I like to think out in rural deep woods Germany. But there's a new addition to the homestead. Because you guessed it, Rob. This would be the hiring of the new maid. The day she starts, Maria Baumgartner.
Okay.
Her very first day on the job is the day the murders happen.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Are you sure this didn't happen on a Monday?
Right?
Sounds like
I
it.
did look that up, actually, to be like, God, this would be, like, can you imagine it's your first day, Monday,
Yeah.
you're murdered as a maid?
I'm not even supposed
Ew,
to be
boy.
here today.
I'm supposed to start this day. Was it Arnold? I should have stayed home today. Magic School Bus.
I thought it was Clerks.
Oh, well, that is
Clerks isn't not supposed to be here today.
Yeah.
Also, the alternate ending of Clerks is he gets murdered.
Oh, yeah, he gets shot in a
Yeah, it's
robbery.
like a
right?
robbery of the
Yeah.
store, yeah.
Maria Baumgartner, who is the new maid starting that day, was escorted through the woods by her sister to be dropped off at the Hinterkaifeck,
Through the forest, huh?
at the Hinterkaifecks. And
That explains why Germany has a lot of getting lost in the woods and eaten by witches.
I mean, have you ever? I guess have you ever been to Germany?
No.
The Black Woods.
My fucking grandpa has.
The Black Woods, though.
Yeah, I've been to
it's-
the airport. No big deal.
It's dark. Like you
Yeah.
drive through that shit, and it's like you look into it, and it's just you see about 3 trees deep, and then it's just blackness because
Yeah.
the foliage is so dense. So it does kind of, especially in Bavaria, there is like it's heavily wooded, so it does kind of explain why a lot of the grim tales, especially, are
Yeah.
in the woods. A lot
go
of
in
the time.
there.
Yeah.
and I mean, there's just pieces of candy that go into the forest.
Also, that witch sounded so Candy Witch. Sign me up for Candy Witch. She's not all bad.
She eats children.
So what?
She eats
Yeah,
you.
but like you're enjoying it up to the point where you get boiled alive.
I suppose that's true.
Also, like Hansel and Gretel is about like someone like the original Hansel just turns into like a deer. He doesn't get eaten in an oven.
It's
Or
actually
cooked in-
about the overconsumption of humanity. So America. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How we overindulge.
We're glad you've listened this long because this is now an anti-capitalism podcast.
And Cap, what's up?
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah,
do that
well,
shit.
It is a Jake joint, so
It is. Yeah, it's very anti-work too. See, if they weren't all busy choring, they wouldn't have died. They would have paid attention to all the weird noises.
Capitalism murdered these people. I think most murders can be attributed to capitalism.
You know, I was gonna say we talk about doing the segment on the show called "Who's the Hitler" in this
Yeah.
story.
Oh, yes.
it's always capitalism.
It's always capitalism.
Yeah, it's always just capitalism.
Capitalism
or George
is
Bush.
Hitler.
Or
I wanna
George Bush.
disagree. In the tail though, what kind of candy are we talking? Is it candy corn? Because there's not a chance it's candy corn, right?
It's dog shit, old-timey
Old
candy.
country candy.
Probably
It's
a
like
ball
melted-
of molasses.
I was gonna say it's just reduced sugar
Yeah.
into
or like
fucking, it's Werther's Originals.
Yeah.
It's just the whole way out.
Pretty
Little piece
much.
of
That's
caramel.
what Werther's Originals
Yeah.
are just like old school.
That's all these people
spoiled
had,
candy.
though. You know what I mean?
they know better.
But anyway, so Maria was escorted through the woods by her sister.
Ain't no candy, Paul.
That's a reach.
It's a really good reference for anyone that likes college football.
Yeah.
Maria was escorted through the woods by her sister, dropped off at the Hinterkaifecks, and Maria's sister, as far as we know, is the last person to see any of these people alive. The rest of this story that I'm going to tell is theoretical or presumed and based entirely on the conditions of the bodies found, the circumstances surrounding the case, and the notes of the investigators at the time of the investigation.
So everything else from now on is all based on them walking in on this fucking nightmare crime scene and being like, yeah, maybe they were there. Hey, that one was on the stairs probably before its foot ended up over there.
Yeah. Well, here's the reason why it's all really interesting is because of where the bodies are found, the condition they're in, also the locations in particular aren't all together. So it's not like it's not a run around spree kind of kill.
Okay.
It's very calculated from what it sounds like. So
Sounds very German.
yeah, exactly.
Efficiency.
Yeah.
So this is from the initial crime scene investigation. It appears that in the late evening, Victoria Gabriel, her 7-year-old daughter, young Kazelia, and her parents, Andreas and Kazelia, the older, were lured to the family barn through the stable, where they were murdered one at a time. The perpetrator, or perpetrators, depending on who you ask, used a mattock belonging to or mattock, however you want to pronounce it, belonging to the family farm.
What is that?
It's so it kind of looks like a pickaxe, but it's not. It's for digging trenches.
Okay.
It's got like a really flat. It's like it looks like a blunt axe on one side vertical, and then on the other side it's horizontal.
That guy picked the wrong souvenir to bring home from World War I.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that.
bring my old trench axe home.
Well, it's good for farming too because you can
Yeah.
dig like obviously trenches for planting seed and clearing out rocks, stuff like that. So the family they obviously used the one from the family farm, presumably, and killed the family with blows to the head. Whoever killed the family was extremely familiar with using the tool, as the wounds were incredibly precise.
First off, again, trench axe doesn't narrow it down. What year is it?
1922, right after the big war.
Yeah, right after that war where they dug all the trenches.
You're right.
So
Could be anybody.
it literally could be any man in Germany.
This weapon was not found at the scene, but would be consistent with the wounds and the items typical to the location of the scene. So they're pretty much like it. They had one of these at the farm.
Yeah.
They had to have.
It
There's
would be a
trenches
normal
dug.
tool at the farm.
Yeah, and there's not one here.
Yeah.
So we don't know. After those 4 were murdered in the barn, the perpetrator supposedly moved into the living quarters where, with the same murder weapon, he killed Josef sleeping in his bassinet and Baumgartner, who was in her bedchamber. Now, the 4 in the barn is
That's how you want to go out, though, right?
asleep. Yes.
Asleep,
As an-
brutally.
As an infant
Murdered.
with a fucking pickaxe, ripping your body in half, probably pretty much.
That's how my grandfather said he wanted to go out.
Well, he was too old.
Did
for
you
that.
oblige him? It sounded like he was asking.
He's
you
saying no.
something.
Dan hasn't said a word
What'd
since
you-
you asked.
Yeah, I don't want to. The statute of limitations hasn't passed yet.
Yeah, there
It
isn't one on
for
murder.
It doesn't count for family.
Yeah, there isn't
Yeah.
one on murder.
That's
so.
euthanasia, right?
Yeah, I mean, but also murder.
Yeah.
Well, if it's consensual, I don't know.
I
Is
don't
there
know,
a
do- are
definition for
nurses
euthanasia?
on the
Euthanasia
hook if
would
they
be
kill somebody?
consensual.
Would it be
What?
consensual? You euthanize a dog. They don't consent to being put down, though.
Dogs don't consent to anything we do.
That's fair.
Dogs don't even consent to the food we give them.
No,
But they
the
sure
same
do
shit
like
every day.
it.
Yeah.
So this is all going to be discovery from here on out. So those are the facts we know about the case. There's 4 dead bodies in the barn.
Okay.
2 in the
How
house.
do you get lured to the barn?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's like, what are you just in the barn like, like, and then fucking, and then like they're like, we all better go look. Yeah. We all better go.
Well, one by one. Like, if there's one person, they're not killing 4 people with a pickaxe. So it would have
Okay.
had to have been one by
so,
one.
oh, I'm sorry. So they got
You lured
lured
one person there.
one at a time.
One at a time.
So
I
they
think
were
we
like-
should split up, Scoob.
Literally.
Well, I imagine it goes something like, oh, like, what's that out there? And they're like, I'll go check it. Someone doesn't come back. All right, I'll go check on them. That
And
person
I would
doesn't
have
come
got
back.
away with it if it wasn't for you darn kid.
Yeah.
Tell you what, fool me once. I'm feeling this is a big fool me once vibe.
A lot of it's fooled me once. Obviously, the house was already been told to have been haunted.
stupid,
You're hearing
man.
voices
Yeah.
and footsteps in your attic. You're seeing footprints go up to your house but not leave it.
Yeah.
Your keys go missing and there's a strange paper in your kitchen. I mean, if any one of these things happen to me, I'm moving out of the house for a little bit until I can fucking scrub it.
I'd like to test that theory.
Were you going to hide in my attic and make noises?
Yeah, leave weird newspapers around.
Fucking okay. So the killings went undetected for 4 days until April 4th, 1922. This was largely because in the days after the murders, the Gruber's neighbors saw smoke coming from the home's chimney, indicating someone was using the house's fireplace. Thus, it seemed as if the family were alive and well. In addition, the farm animals and the livestock were fed, and someone even went to the trouble of milking all the cows. The cows were milked.
Damn.
Yeah, so, like, this person knew their way around a fucking farm.
Yeah. Wanted to cosplay a little bit.
And they're like, oh, well, mull over why they might know a little bit about the farm. Police also discovered someone had recently eaten food in the family's house, causing them to conclude the killer had not only lived in the house after murdering 6 people, but had also performed daily tasks like preparing meals and also just random maintenance, like, of course, milking the cows. Because the perpetrator fed the animals and used the fireplace for days after the murders, the family's neighbors weren't particularly concerned when little Kazilia missed school on Saturday, April 1st. They had school on Saturday. How much does that suck? I would have been like, you know what? Kill me.
Yeah.
Saturday school? Fuck
Oh,
that.
boy. Kill me.
Yeah. Or when the family skipped church that Sunday, which would be a red flag, but they saw the fucking smoke coming out.
Right.
So they're like, okay, maybe there's a reason they missed church.
Maybe they're sick. We don't know.
However, when Kazilia didn't show up for school on Monday and the mailman noticed no one had picked up their letters in a while he delivered over the weekend, the Gruber's neighbors began to worry about the 6 people who lived at the Hinterkaifeck farm. Consequently, 3 people who lived near the Gruber's home visited the farm and discovered the battered corpses in the barn and house. Police were immediately notified about the killings, and law enforcement arrived from Munich to start interviewing people.
So this person, lived there for like 2 days and then got the fuck out of
Probably
Dodge?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 4th day, they were definitely gone.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to...
You don't want to hang around too long.
Yeah, it starts to get smelly. You can't enjoy your meals anymore.
We'll talk about smell soon, too.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
It's like Vegas. You only want to be there for like 48 hours.
It's 2 days.
Yeah.
You leave the 3rd.
Vegas and a house with a dead toddler in it. 48 hours.
It's
max.
air conditioned. It's cold. It's winter, so it's not going to start smelling too bad. But yeah.
Yeah. But you also don't want those ghosts to start getting their legs from, getting their ghost legs, getting their sea legs.
Start feeling themselves.
Yeah. Like the first couple of days, you're like,
Their
where
ghost
am I?
powers.
What happened? Where's my baby?
And you're
But
like, shut up, ghost! I'm trying to eat.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know, and they fade in and out. But then after a while,
They're permanent.
Yeah, they're like, they know what's happening, and they're like, there's that fucking guy still here eating toast.
Stop eating our toast, bro. Go milk the cows. They got exploding titties about to happen.
How do ghosts work, though? Can you get revenge on the person that killed you as a ghost? Or
Maybe
Possibly.
you can.
Or is it like he owns your soul now?
He doesn't own your soul.
Well, I didn't one of the crazy old serial killers thought that all of his victims would be slaves. So to him, I forget which one. It might have been
Mormon
Zodiac.
Planet?
I thought it was like Zodiac or something like that. Thought everyone he killed would be a slave to him in the afterlife.
Ooh. What if that got accidentally proven true?
We'd all be murdering a lot.
It's mass shootings all over the place.
It's like, you're my slave.
Yeah. The Mormons are like, guess what? Everyone does get their own planet when they die, and anyone you kill, they're working for you on that planet. And guess what? There's no protesters on that planet or labor unions. It's just they're there.
You're God.
You're God. They're there.
They have to listen to you. What if we're on a planet? We're all ghosts that were murdered by someone on another planet in another dimension. We're
Popping off like 6 billion people.
constantly.
Damn.
Yeah, that's why the population keeps going up. He's just getting more efficient.
I always thought my child had an old soul. It must have been a nursing home murder. But then, showed up in my infant's body.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
Are we... okay. One of the biggest issues with getting any leads at all, as I mentioned before, they interviewed 100 people plus. One of the biggest issues with...
So everyone?
Yeah, everyone
around?
everyone in the vicinity, essentially, they interviewed because there weren't a lot of people there anyway. One of the biggest issues, though, was the amount that the crime scene was reportedly messed with before the discovery of the bodies even took place.
Well, yeah, someone was living there.
Well, yeah, that and other people showed up before noticing the bodies. So, April 1st, someone actually showed up to the house. No one went in, though. So, and presumably speaking, the person that was cooking shit and stuff would still be there at this time.
And they're like, oh, boy.
So on April 1st, coffee sellers Hans Stravosky and Edward Stravosky arrived in Hinterkaifeck to take an order. When no one responded to the knocks on the door and the window, they walked around the yard but found no one. They only noticed that the gate to the machine house was open before they decided to leave. So they're already touching the door and knocking on the windows and stuff. That's minor. Then an assembler named Albert sorry, one second. An assembler named Albert Hoffner went to the Hinterkaifeck farm on April 4th. This is the day they found the bodies, to repair the engine of the food chopper. He stated that he had not seen any of the family and had heard nothing but the sounds of the farm animals and the dog inside the barn. So dog's also taken care
poor
of.
puppy.
Yeah. After waiting for an hour, he decided to start his repair without, being told to do it. He's like, I got to get this done. He said he completed the repair in roughly 4.5 hours. So that's 4.5 hours of just fumbling around the machine room in the house and getting inside.
Yeah. And just not noticing 6 dead bodies.
Well, there 4 are in the barn, one's in a bassinet, and one's in a room.
Right.
So if he's not going into the main house, he's not going to notice
He was
that.
locked in.
Right, he's working.
Yeah.
A German just does his job.
Have you ever, if you've ever done manual labor, the last thing I'm going to do is go investigate. If I've been on delivery jobs and shit like that, it's like
I'm
the
in the
last thing,
zone.
I'm not doing more work than I need to do.
Yeah.
I'm doing the work I was paid to do and that I was assigned to do. I'm leaving.
Getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's like, the oven is smoking. I don't give a fuck. I'm here to fix I'm fixing the food chopper. That's what I'm doing. So around 3:30 p.m., and remember this name, Lorenz Schlittenbauer sent his son Johann and stepson Josef to Hinterkaifeck to see if anyone could make contact with the family because he hadn't heard from them in a little bit. Who is Lawrence Schlittenbauer? Why does he care about the family? It's assumed that he is the lover of Victoria Gabriel, the daughter of the Hinterkaifeck
single mom.
The single mom. Yeah.
Single mom.
When they reported that they did not see anyone, Schlittenbauer headed to the farm the same day with Michael Poole and Jacob Siege.
Just push through it. Just push through it.
It's just weird German.
Just say
names.
names.
Entering the barn, they found the bodies, and interestingly enough, we will hear the name Lawrence Schlittenbauer again pretty soon on even more detail, as there may be a reason he sent his stepchildren to contact the family and not himself first, and obviously one of them is that he was probably porking Victoria. Right. He didn't want to make it like, are you okay? Are you okay?
Oh, babe, babe.
Here's some other things of note about the investigation. So in the inspection record of the court commission,
You don't want to come off too clingy,
no. Yeah, man. You got your side piece out in the woods. You don't want to ruin that,
Right.
Yeah. Like if you you can't, even if they're murdered.
She's
you
in a
don't
different
wanna-
zip code.
You don't want to, yes.
Yeah.
But you don't want to come off too eager, even if she is dead.
Even if she is dead, yeah. Also, by the way, if she's murdered in a different zip code, free for all.
Wait, what?
You can do whatever you want.
Well, yeah.
After she's murdered in
you're
a
no
different zip
longer tied down.
Yeah, but you don't even have to feel bad. There's no mourning time. She's murdered in a different zip code.
Yeah.
So you
What
can
am I
start-
supposed to
you
do?
just- You just fuck right away.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, that was a different zip code, bro.
Probably get some good breakup gains.
Gains. You're not even
You're thinking
fucking-
about working out.
You're just
Yeah.
lifting.
Yeah, everyone's doing farm work.
Good
They
Lord.
don't worry about
Yeah,
gains.
they have gains every day.
Yeah.
In fact, they
They're
just
actually
need to eat.
They need food.
Yeah.
If they don't eat, they have losses.
Yeah.
Quite often. So in the inspection report of the court commission, it was noted that the victims were probably drawn to the barn by restlessness in the stable, resulting in noises from the animals. However, a later attempt revealed that they couldn't hear loud noises from the living area or anywhere in the house if they were coming from the barn.
Right.
So there's no luring them to the barn with
Yeah.
they couldn't. They tried to do blood curdling screams from inside the barn. You couldn't hear it from inside the fucking house. On the night after the crime, 3 days before the bodies were discovered, there was an artisan, Michael Plocky, who happened to pass by the Hinterkaifeck barn. Plocky observed that the oven had been heated by someone, and while he was going up to approach, a person had approached him with a lantern and blinded him where he couldn't see the person's makeup, or the makeup of the person's face, right?
So it could have been a clown because
You know what I'm trying
makeup.
to say.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't see the person's face.
but it could have been a clown.
It could have been a clown
Yeah.
because they couldn't see the makeup.
Yes.
So he hastily continued on his way. Plocky also remembered.
Yeah, I would too. If someone was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Hey,
With a lantern in hand, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
All right,
Let's fire.
I mean, are we sure Paul Revere's dead at this point?
Probably dead.
Okay.
Unless he's also immortal.
I'm just making sure.
Plocky also noted that the
Be a time
smoke from.
traveler like Nick Cage.
He could be.
What movie is that?
No. You ever see just old photos of the Civil War? There's
yeah,
a bunch
yeah,
of photos on the internet. where,
Keanu
like,
Reeves
that's-
is immortal.
Keanu Reeves is
and-
another one, yeah.
That's Nick Cage.
Yeah.
No, I can believe that though.
Okay.
Like whatever, Keanu Reeves, whatever. I believe Nick Cage travels
Fair.
time.
So you think he just got that T-Rex skull on his own?
Well, yeah, he went back and he didn't buy it for millions of dollars.
No, absolutely not. It's really weird, that old Civil War photo. He's dressed as his character in Con Air. That's why it's so uncanny.
Yeah. Con Air is a great movie. It's
so
not as good as The Rock, but man.
No one's ever.
By the way, have you heard what'd you say?
No one's ever said Con Air is better than The Rock.
I know The Rock is the greatest action movie ever made.
For
you
sure.
know what? I like that take.
That's a good take.
That The Rock is the greatest action movie ever
It's
made.
a really good movie.
I think it's the best. I think it is by far the best action movie ever made. It's fucking crazy. Also, I love the small, tiny, not obviously confirmed or true or anything, but the fan theory that it's a James Bond film.
Oh, and Sean Connery's James Bond.
Yes,
Old
Sean
James
Connery's
Bond.
old James Bond.
I like that. I
Yeah.
also like that take.
Yeah, that's pure. That's fanfic, but
This
it's
is
fine.
a Rock podcast now. The Rock, not Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Losers always whine about their best. I can't do it. Winners
go home and fuck the prom queen.
Yeah.
Just
So
great,
good.
great, terrible
Can
lines
you-
in that movie.
can
Bad
you-
dialogue.
Like if in me, like fifth grade, me and my friends, like watching that on a sleepover, just fucking dying every time they say that. That and the other great line is like, you like the Rocket Man? And I don't listen to that soft ass shit. As he like pulls a knife up to his face.
I also like the part where he's like, "Welcome to the Rock."
Yeah,
That's
welcome
also-
to the Rock.
yeah, it's really good.
So fucking good.
It's
That's why I can never hate Michael Bay.
no. Who hates
'Cause
Michael Bay?
Because he made that movie.
The other great Michael Bay story is when someone came in to ask him, like, "Hey, aren't astronauts like super smart scientists? Wouldn't it be smarter to train astronauts to do all these other jobs than train all these other people to be astronauts?"
Yeah,
and
it
he
was
was
Ben
like,
Affleck.
"Yeah, Ben Affleck came in and he's like, oh, hey Ben, shut the fuck
Yeah.
up."
Just shut up, Ben. Just YouTube the Ben Affleck DVD commentary for
Yeah.
Armageddon. It's incredible.
Yeah,
But that and then when Megan Fox called him Hitler, just going back to Hitler for this episode again, she's like, he's like Hitler on the set, and Spielberg fired her because he was the executive producer, and people were like, "Oh, is Michael Bay a mean director?" And he was like, "I'm sorry for making you show up on time
yeah,
to your job."
yeah. It's a totally valid argument.
Yeah.
It is. It's like you're getting paid how much to
And
do
Megan
this?
Fox, by the way, is just now confirming more and more every day that Michael Bay was the good guy in that situation.
I started dating Machine Gun Kelly because of I Am Weed or whatever the fuck. Yeah. Oh, cool, man. It's fucking deep.
Like them to get Hinterkaifeck.
So mysteriously stabbed in their barn?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the night after the crime. Oh, I already said this part. So, yeah, the other thing that guy noticed when he was passing through by the barn was that not only was there a crazy person with a lantern like, oh, get out of here. There was a terrible smell coming from the fireplace, like the smoke billowing out of the chimney,
Okay.
which is really weird because they
Didn't
found all
burn the bodies,
They
right?
found all the bodies.
But was he
Yeah.
just pooping in the fireplace?
I don't know. The best part is this instance was not investigated as there were no investigators conducted to determine what had been burned that night in the oven. So no one looked in the oven.
A
Ever.
little handicapped. It's not like 1922.
Yeah.
What are they going to figure out?
Well, they did have fingerprint technology at the time,
Oh, okay.
and they did not pull fingerprints.
Fingerprinting, as far as I recall, would have been brand new.
I mean, they had it. They were using it at that time. Like,
I think it's like
well, because okay, so
I think it's like 20 years old max.
yeah, but like it's a crime where they sent people from Munich up to investigate it.
Yeah.
You'd think they would have fingerprinted.
Yes.
Like
But the
dusted.
other problem is though, yeah, okay, they can find fingerprints.
How long does it take?
Is
to
it on the
match?
record? Like,
Right.
Yeah,
That's the thing. They don't
There
know.
is no record. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to
You have to
find
go through
every-
the actual files, the cabinets.
But
They don't
how
even
many
have that. They don't
Fingerprints
They
do
don't
they
have
have?
yellow folders.
They
Yeah.
don't even- how long did they take a fingerprint?
They got the
fingerprints
town.
for
They
5
got,
years.
They got the town goat fucker. That's it.
Right, yeah.
It's like, is it the goat fucker? Oh,
Yeah.
well, these fingerprints won't do.
No, it's
Yeah.
not the goat fucker. It's
We can
never the
rule
goat
out
fucker.
the goat fucker.
Yeah.
Okay, so another.
Well, sometimes it is the goat fucker. Sometimes it's Peter Kirk.
sometimes it's him.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one
It's-
barn he
you
didn't
can't
fuck with.
immediately rule out the goat fucker until like you have proof that it's not him.
The goat fucker is just like, you know what? I'm sick of this, guys. Get more fingerprints on file.
Peter Kurt
I'm
and
tired of coming in every time you get a fingerprint.
Yeah.
At this point, you should just have mine memorized.
Yeah. Exactly. No, they really should. But on April 1st at 3 a.m., the farmer and butcher, Seimer Reislander, on the way home near the farm, saw two unknown figures at the edge of the forest. When the strangers saw him, they turned around so that their faces could not be seen. They didn't run away. They just turned around, which is creepier than anything to me.
Yes.
Just like,
Yes.
that's terrifying. Just like, you can't see our face now.
Yeah.
So he kind of was like, that's weird, and kept going. Later, when he heard of the murders,
Yeah, you have to balance it with like, oh man, those guys are fucked up. But then you're like, oh, but I live in Germany.
yeah,
So
this could be just fun for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he thought it could be connected. Nothing was ever followed up on that because, I mean, what are they going to follow up on? It's just two people in the woods.
Like we live in Austin. If I see a guy walking down the street, pretty much like going down South Congress, like pretty much naked, they could be on PCP, or they could just be a fucking guy.
Yeah.
Riding a unicycle.
Yeah.
I saw a guy
I don't
during
know.
South by Southwest literally bouncing on his...
Oh, I was there with you.
Were you with me with
Yeah.
that? The naked guy with the giant dick?
Yeah, who was slamming his penis into the street.
Yeah. No, he was like definitely losing his mind on drugs. His dick was huge. And he
It
was
unbelievably big.
and he was slamming it into the asphalt.
He
It
was
like-
sitting there like spread-legged, right?
Yeah.
Like he was sitting there
Screaming.
You're sitting on the floor. If you're not watching this on video, he was sitting on the floor, like on the street, on a brick street, completely his legs like in a V, totally spread out, holding his humongous penis,
flaccid humongous penis.
flaccid humongous penis, slapping it into the street.
And screaming. Just like people are like, dude, stop, you're gonna get arrested. It's like he's past that. He needs to be arrested.
Dude, so yeah, who's reasoning with him?
Someone needs to come get this guy.
What sweet naive soul was reasoning with
Someone visiting
guy?
Someone from LA visiting.
Because
for
South
South
by,
by.
it was South by, right?
It was South by.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Perhaps it was performance art. We don't know.
I don't fully know yet.
You're right. That was also about the overconsumption of Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything leads back to capitalism.
It was
Yeah.
yes, it was capitalism's fault that guy was slamming his penis into the brick street on 6th Street. Yeah, 100%.
So
That was never even. You didn't need to bring that up.
Right, that was a given.
Goes without saying. Yeah.
So another couple things here. In the middle of May 1927, so this is 5 years after the murder, a stranger was said to have stopped a resident of Weidhofen at midnight. Weidhofen is now the city now where the barn was built. He asked him questions about the murder and then shouted that he was the murderer before he ran into the woods. The woods are a big problem in this place with suspects, clearly.
Speaking of that,
The stranger was never identified, of course, because it's fucking midnight in the woods.
right?
It's like, hey, what you know about this? I did it.
Yeah.
Bye. Like, love that story. That's my
I
favorite.
killed them, and then
Yeah.
just giggles off into the forest.
Yeah. Now, here's where we get to some gross parts, guys. These are some gold star things. So, here's a fun fact. Apparently, 7 years before the residents of Hinterkaifeck farm were murdered with a pickaxe, Andreas and Victoria were convicted of incest in 1915.
So he was banging his daughter.
Yeah. Whether or not it was consensual is debated. Most people think he was raping his daughter.
Okay. So she was 28.
7 years. Yeah, she'd be like 28 years old at
Okay.
this time. She
So
served.
she had her kids already. No.
There's one kid.
One kid.
There's actually
An
two.
incest baby.
There's two children.
No,
That,
the other one was 7.
the other one was 7. Yeah.
Good Lord.
So start doing some math here quick, right?
I did
yeah,
it.
Yeah, you did it. But there's also, she served 1 month in jail for the crime while her father was sent. While her father was sent away for an entire year. At least he served more time for it. But 1 month, 1 year,
Yes,
it's like,
the victim go to jail.
yeah.
incest is the crime.
Think about what you did. Think about what you let happen.
Directly to jail.
Yeah. Whatever.
So-
Just whatever the insane justification was at the time.
So a lot of people think the 2-year-old Josef was the child of Lorenz Schlittenbauer, who we talked about, who sent his stepsons there to go find the family and make contact with them, her lover. A man who lived near the family, some of the Gruber's neighbors, and a couple others believed the child was the product of Andreas's incestuous relationship with his daughter. This would imply that the father and daughter continued having sex with each other years after they were convicted of incest. The true identity of Joseph's father and I believe the daughter of Victoria are both a mystery. After the autopsy, here's a couple just weird fun
Was
facts.
it a red flag that the baby didn't have any skin?
It was bleeding a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really weird. They cut all the fingertips off. It was very strange.
Yeah. Well, it was born without fingertips.
Right, because no skin. Right.
Well, it explains the no fingerprints then.
Eyes where his testicles were supposed to be.
Did we ask about the baby? Did the baby murder?
Yeah, it was a murder-suicide. The baby was very strong, 2-year-old. Swung that mattock around, killed its entire family,
And then took himself out.
took himself out in the bassinet.
They call it the terrible twos for a reason.
Yeah, toddlers, man.
Would never expect it.
I got 3 more fun facts. before we go to the suspects. So here's another fun one. After the autopsy, the court physician removed the heads of all the victims, which he reportedly sent to Munich for further examination. Allegedly, the skulls of the Grubers and their maid were also given to clairvoyants to like figure out more.
Yeah, well, it's 1922.
Yeah.
That's actually a good call. For
Yeah.
1922, that's a great call.
So they were trying to learn more about who committed the brutal massacre. The skulls got lost. And then even apparently somewhere in the building. And then like after the war, World War II, they were never found again. So all these people are buried headless. Why
I will blame capitalism again. Their economy was in shambles thanks to, the war. How fucked Germany got from World War I, like economically and everything like that. Maybe someone had to sell the heads, just sloppy work because everyone wasn't making enough money. Anyway, the heads disappeared because of capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or someone was running a ring. It's like, hey, how much time you want with the heads?
That's
give me 20 minutes with the heads.
Also, then you just get to sell skulls.
You know what's interesting? We all live in a skull. Wow. Yeah, deep.
Whoa.
Yeah. We're all just wet skeletons, bro.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
your bones are wet, Dan. Anyway.
Dan did not feel like replying.
Yeah. Anyway.
I just kept thinking of Al Snow, former wrestler, holding up head. It used to be one of his props.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here's probably one of the darkest facts about the case, though, and it's pretty disturbing.
Oh, this is going to leap over father fucking daughter?
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
I mean, we started with that last week.
Yeah.
We did. That was
So we're already
that was
well
the first
ingrained
5
in
minutes of last
daughter
week.
fucking.
So investigators, when examining the body of young Kazelia, found that she had bald patches all over her head. And they thought, like, well, at first, like, maybe that's because they, like, beat her up or pulled her hair out to hold her down. They found the clumps of hair clenched in her hands, causing them to conclude that she had ripped out her own hair. The authorities theorized that the little girl probably didn't die right away from her injuries, and Kazelia may have torn her own hair out as she laid, like, in just pure shock and terror in a pile of her dead family's bodies.
So they didn't kill... Wait, but she also had a wound, though, right?
She died slow.
So what? She walked in...
They hit her with something later. They laid her down in the pile with the other members of her family, and she came to and like was bleeding out.
Okay.
And they think that she was just freaking out. Like a 7-year-old is processing this.
Right.
And so she's next to the corpses of her mother and grandparents in the barn for several hours, dying. According to police, she was alive but fatally injured. She was dying in the barn, surrounded by the dead bodies. And the killer or killers, she probably saw them go inside the house after that.
Right.
And she knew her little brother and the maid were in there too.
Yeah.
She probably died soon after that.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking grisly. Like, just the idea that the kid is like so aware of what's going on that they were like, they can't comprehend it and they rip their own hair out is horrifying to me. So let's get to the suspects.
All right.
Yeah. Carl Gabriel.
I was trying to think of a funny joke.
There isn't one.
About like, God, relax, kid.
You can't.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
There's nothing.
There's no material there for me to, yeah.
So the first suspect is Carl Gabriel, the husband of Victoria Gabriel. Carl Gabriel had reportedly been killed in France by a shell attack in December 1914 during the First World War.
So a dead guy.
First
a dead
suspect
guy is the first suspect.
First suspect, dead guy.
So we're back to the ghost. The ghost did it.
Yeah.
Or it could be like a Mad Men situation.
So this is a they had Game of Thrones rules.
I like that, yeah.
Game of Thrones rules. If you don't see the person die, you can't confirm they're dead.
Yeah, I actually prefer the Band of Brothers version of that. If there ain't no body, then there ain't no body fucking dead.
Ooh, I like that too.
Yeah.
So his body was never recovered in the shell attack. So after the murders, people began to speculate.
Recovering bodies. Like, all right, hold on, all right.
Let's find the pieces in the shell attack.
Let's go. Let's get
This
him.
is an arm.
Yeah.
They're just trying to play like, make it a puzzle. It's like, I think this arm goes with this head.
And dude, well, that does happen in actual, like in the awful suicide bombing that happened at Kabul airport. They will do that. They'll like collect right legs to like see how many right legs there are, etc. But like,
that's grim.
Here's the thing, though.
Or just the guy in Saving Private Ryan just picking up his arm.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. You didn't get time for that during World War I, right? Like, it doesn't stop.
No, it's still, you're in the trench.
Nothing stops. It's funny when they're like, oh, yeah, he got killed by a shelling. It was just always shelling.
Yeah, shelling and gas and fucking beating each other up in trenches.
Except for that one Christmas where they played soccer.
That didn't happen, right?
Which didn't
No,
happen.
it did.
No, Jack said it didn't happen. So
It happened.
Either way, we're not here to debate that.
What Coop's popping his head up. He doesn't think it happened either?
No, I'm confused because I always heard that it was a true story.
Yeah, I think it is a true story.
yeah, I think it's true.
I think maybe it
wanna
might be a little
believe.
fluffed up, but I think it's true.
So apparently after the murders, people began to speculate if he had indeed died in the war. Like, they were like, we're not sure if he died
So that's
or not.
number one.
Yeah, Victoria
They're like,
Gabriel.
who could have murdered these people? It has to be the dead guy, number one.
Okay, yeah. So Victoria Gabriel had given birth to Joseph in her husband's absence. 2-year-old Joseph was rumored to be the son of Victoria and her father Andreas, who had an incestuous relationship with her, and that was documented in court, as we discussed. He was raping his daughter, and the town convicted them both of incest. After the end of the Second World War, captives from the Schrobenhausen region who were released prematurely from Soviet captivity claimed that they had been sent home by a German-speaking Soviet officer who claimed to be the murderer of Hinterkaifeck. Some of these men later revised their statements, which diminishes their credibility, but many theorize that the Soviet might be Karl Gabriel because those that claimed to have seen the man after his reported death testified that Gabriel had wanted to go to Russia. That still makes no sense as to why he would go back to Hinterkaifeck to kill his family and
And
leave.
he's Soviet. He speaks Soviet now.
He speaks Russian and German. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is over, so he would have died in 1914, I guess turncoated to the Russians.
Guys, it's just like what? On the other side of a fence with POWs? Like, hey, what's up? You guys German? I've been to Germany. You know what I did there? Fucking killed a bunch of Germans. Oh, not in the war. It was like 20 years earlier. And,
It was actually 1922, so it would have been like
23, 24 years earlier.
yeah. So like
I mean, if he's doing POWs after the war, Soviet occupation, that'd be 45,
I don't-
46.
yeah. So that's really weird. Anyway, I don't buy any of that.
Yeah, just like an old guy. Like,
Yeah.
hey, where you from?
Like how did this?
Yeah.
This is bullshit. Lorenz Schlittenbauer, who we talked about before. Shortly after the death of his first wife in 1918, Lorenz was believed to have a relationship with Victoria Gabriel and fathered.
All right, so widower and widow.
Yeah, and fathered Joseph. Schlittenbauer came under suspicion by locals early in the investigation because of his several suspicious actions immediately after the discovery of the bodies. This is why I think it's him.
So I assumed that was the guy you were going to think it was, and honestly, it's always the fucking guy fucking someone.
Right. It's
always
just
that
classic.
person.
It's classic.
Classic.
When Schlittenbauer and his friends came to investigate, they had to break a gate to enter the barn because all the doors were locked. However, immediately after finding the 4 bodies in the barn, Schlittenbauer apparently unlocked the front door with a key he had and entered the house.
Well,
So,
first off, though, the key thing doesn't matter because
no, remember though, a key to the house had gone missing several days before the murders.
Oh, that does matter. Yes.
Yeah, though it is also possible that Schlittenbauer, as a neighbor, as Victoria's potential lover, might have been given a key. It's very sus that one went missing days before the murder, and he happened to have
That's
one
interesting. The other thing too, though, is that like you wouldn't have needed a key to the house to get in and murder those people because presumably the people going out to the barn to check on God knows what
Yeah,
were not locking the door behind them.
sure. That's probably a good point. Why would they lock the door? There's plenty of people inside.
Right.
Also, you're probably not seen as dangerous to
You're-
them.
Yeah, you're probably around a lot.
Yeah.
Unless he was the one luring them to the barn and was like, hey, come out and look at this thing in the barn. And then they come back. And
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, your
That's-
mom wants to.
That's what Dan is saying. Like they're not threatening because they're familiar with this guy. That's how he gets them out.
This
to
guy
the
did it.
Yeah. Here's another thing. When asked by his companions why he had gone into the house alone when it was unclear if the murderer might still be there, Schlittenbauer allegedly stated that he went to look for his son, Joseph. So he's admitting to the crowd that that's his kid. Regardless of any of the above rumor, it is known that Schlittenbauer had disturbed the bodies at the scene as well, thus potentially compromising the investigation. So
How?
he
How
would
does
have
he-
moved him around.
I understand it now when you can find all kinds of crazy tiny shit. But like, and I, know they have
I guess
fingerprints back then.
guess I see what you're saying. It's like, how do they? Why are you moving the bodies? They're like, I want to see how they fucking died. What's
Yeah.
up with these things?
Yeah, it just doesn't.
There's a curiosity
like,
play there.
Nowadays, people are like, oh, don't touch anything, don't touch anything. We gotta, you can figure out anything from just the way they are and everything. Back then, not only people didn't think that because you couldn't do that.
But people didn't know that either. Just
Right.
that you weren't supposed to do it either.
Yeah.
Like, so
How do you think Sherlock Holmes figured out investigations? Can't fuck with
cocaine.
the bodies, man.
Cocaine.
It was cocaine.
It was cocaine.
Yeah, it was cocaine.
Everyone knows it was cocaine.
Like, everyone knows what cocaine because everyone knows cocaine makes you smarter.
Yeah. He
And
put together,
cooler.
you connect the dots quicker.
Yeah, and more awesome.
Yeah. That's why it was so cool.
So if you move the bodies, clearly it's going to be harder to connect the dots.
Should we do an episode where we all just like blast off and just scream at each other about history for an hour?
Or we try to solve this more.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, no.
What do you mean blast off?
Blast off for 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Nah, pass. I don't want to do any drugs right here for a podcast. That sounds terrible. For many years after, local suspicion remained on Schlittenbauer because of his strange comments. So here's another great thing, which were seen as indicating knowledge of details that only the killer would know, according to reports in the files of the case.
Yeah, that girl screamed a lot.
Local teacher Hansi Blogger discovered Schlittenbauer visiting the remains of the demolished Hinterkaifeck house in 1925. Upon being asked why he was there, Schlittenbauer stated that the perpetrator's attempt to bury the family's remains in the barn had been hindered by the frozen ground. Why the fuck would he say that?
Right.
Out of nowhere. It's like, why are you here? Yeah, it's crazy how they couldn't bury the bodies because the ground was frozen.
Yeah.
That's not what I asked, but okay.
Yeah.
Killer.
Listen,
Yeah.
sometimes you play golf before. Sometimes the ground's too hard to put a tee in. Imagine trying to dig and bury those bodies.
Yeah.
When you can't even get like a fucking peg into the ground.
I know, dude.
That's why you got to do it in the summer.
But if someone asks, hey, why are you here where all these people were murdered? And you go, real nuts how they couldn't bury them because the ground was frozen. That's,
Well, did they
that's
even
a
ask-
non sequitur. They didn't.
Did they even ask the murder part? They're like, hey, what are you doing here watching this demolition? Crazy how they couldn't bury the bodies because they were murdered, because the ground was frozen. Those murdered
That's
people.
how it went. That's
Yeah.
how it says it in the files.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like the classic, like lying and giving, like you get
It's like
nervous
the
and give way
jinx.
too much information.
It's like the jinx. It's like,
Yeah.
of course I killed him. I killed them all. Like, hot mic'd it. Upon being asked, sorry. This was seen as evidence that Schlittenbauer had intimate knowledge of the conditions of the ground at the time of the murders, although being a neighbor and familiar with the local land, he may have been making an educated guess, unprompted. Another speculation was that Schlittenbauer murdered the family after Victoria demanded financial support for young Joseph. Before his death in 1941, Schlittenbauer conducted and won several civil claims for slander against persons who described him as the murderer of Hinterkaifeck, because there wasn't enough to pin him.
Right.
I don't have to pin him, but
Wait, what year was this court case?
His
41.
court case, his death was 41, so he won cases between 1922 and 1941. Maybe.
Oh, wow. So he
Yeah.
was in court like during the war.
Yeah.
I think there's bigger problems going on.
Right.
Here's a couple other dumb ones. It's definitely Schlittenbauer in my mind, but
At this point, the court 41's like, hey, buddy, we're all German.
We're all Nazis.
We're all assholes now at this point.
yeah,
So
come on,
it's fine.
Yeah.
Let's just drop it.
Did you kill him?
Yeah.
Whatever. The Gump brothers in 1951, prosecutor Andreas Popp investigated brothers Adolf and Anton Gump in relation to the murders at Hinterkaifeck. Their sister claimed on her deathbed that Adolf and Anton had committed the murders. As a result, Anton Gump was remanded to the police, and Adolf had already died in 1944, but they were like, no, these guys didn't do it.
What was the evidence that they didn't do it?
There was no evidence they did it except for their sister saying they did it.
Okay.
Shit like that happened constantly with these murders.
You're not even in town, but your fucking family member has a problem with
Just like,
you.
yeah, fuck it.
There was
did it.
like another one. The they don't even say the last name of this family, but Carl S. and Andreas S. Someone was saying that they lost their penknife, and there was a penknife found at the scene of the crime. So they're like, "Oh, it could have been them.
It
They
might have
lost a
been.
penknife." And then the former maid was like, "There's penknives all over that place. It's a
Right.
fucking farm."
It's a fucking penknife factory over there. Nothing but penknives on a farm. You ever been to a fucking German farm before? It's full of penknives.
Yeah, another one was there's just blades to cut shit.
Yeah, a farm is full of murder weapons. It's like that scene in Twister where they run into the barn to take cover and look around, and it's just the whole wall is just like covered in blades.
I only take place in barns during any type of
Tornado.
any type of crazy weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes.
Always a barn. You find a lot of barns in Orlando to take cover in during hurricanes.
You always go under the overpass if you need to during the tornado.
Like in Superman.
Nader.
The tornado, yeah. You go under the overpass. It's the move. Or go into a culvert.
You need to be in a
jumps you.
ditch.
Yeah,
You don't get on. No, the overpass is kind of bad because it collapsed on you.
Oh yeah, not an overpass. The ditch.
You need to get in a ditch.
Yeah, the thingy.
No, you go in a
little
bathtub.
That
Go in a
also-
bathtub. You go in a
Yeah,
bathtub.
I guess you have a bathtub
don't
available
have
on the side of the
basements.
road.
Yeah.
I don't drive with a bathtub, unfortunately.
Damn.
There's another one that's really stupid that I'm not even going to go into now that I'm rereading it because it's like, this guy in jail said that this person had a lot of money and knew that he was fucking his daughter. And he was like, we should kill him and take all their money. But the guy didn't respond, so the guy just never mentioned it again.
They just didn't get a reply. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so,
fuck it.
whatever. Not really worth looking into, I guess. The Beekler brothers and George Siegel, however, are pretty interesting. So the former maid, Kresnis Rieger, worked from November 1920 to about September 1921. She's the one that quit because the house was haunted. She suspected the brothers Anton and Carl Beekler to have committed the murders. Anton Beekler had helped with the potato harvest at the Hinterkaifeck farm and therefore knew the premises. Rieger said Beekler talked to her often about the Grubar and Gabriel family. Anton reportedly suggested that the family ought to be dead. The maid also emphasized in her interrogation that the farm dog, who barked at everyone, never barked at Anton. In addition, she reported speaking with the stranger through her window at night. And that stranger, the maid believed it was Carl Beekler, the brother of Anton Beekler. She thought that Anton and Carl Beekler could have committed the murder together with George Siegel, who had worked at the Hinterkaifeck and knew of the family fortune. Supposedly, Siegel had broken into the home in November 1920 and had stolen a number of items, though he denied it. He did state that he had carved the handle of the murder weapon when he was working at Hinterkaifeck and knew that the tool would have been kept in the barn passage.
So post-murder, were things missing?
Yeah, the murder weapon was.
Did they
but,
take
like,
the money and shit
money.
with jewelry gone? or-
They never mentioned that. They even mentioned shit missing.
Seems relevant.
Yeah, they never mentioned it.
They mentioned food being made in the house. So yeah, they made some fucking toast or
The
whatever.
fireplace smelled like
Whole
shit.
town might have
Yeah.
stolen the money. They knew it was a fucking incest house.
Yeah.
They were like, you know what? Fuck this place.
Dude, what if the whole town just conspired to murder?
It was an inside job.
Well, didn't we do a story about someone, like, wasn't there a murder in a town where the entire town killed the guy? And, like, everyone was just like, we all know who did
I
it.
think that's just the plot that Hot Fuzz.
That is the
That is the plot to Hot
yes.
Fuzz. But there's also, like, in American history, there's this big bad dude. I think he's in, like, Kansas. He just bullies people around, and then finally someone just, like, he does something to somebody, and everyone's like, that's enough. And they all just shoot him together. And they go to investigate, and they're like, I don't know what happened. Could have been anybody.
Could have been fucking anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this guy's fucking his daughter, and they're rich, and we hate them.
Yeah, there's a couple
Killing
more.
a toddler seems like a lot.
There's a couple more insane ones where, like, someone's like, oh, the devil did it and stuff like that. But here's what I think happened. So Lorenz Schlittenbauer, he's the lover, obviously, of Victoria. The people are hearing noises up in the attic. Mm-hmm. Either that's one of two things happening. Either that's the incest room, or that's the room where the family lets, and I think this is what really happened, they let Lorenz and Victoria have time together up there because she's stuck there anyway.
Right.
They know he's at least taking care of her in some form or fashion, and they let that happen, but it's unbeknownst to the fucking maid.
Okay.
The maid's probably hearing the shit going on up there.
Why tell the maid?
Why tell the maid? It's not the maid's problem.
You're the maid.
Yeah, like you're not family. You don't need to know this. You're not
It's just
family.
good old consensual fucking.
It's widower boning that's going on up there. That probably leads to the conception of the son, Yosef. There's probably an argument about
Who the father is.
One,
Is it me or your dad?
is it me or your dad?
That's a great
He probably
argument.
already hates her dad, knowing the history behind it, and he also was
How's the dad like? Like
What else are they gonna do? It's his farm.
What are they gonna? What I mean, like, what is going on?
Yeah.
The dad's like, yeah, I bang my daughter. You could bang her too.
Well, or to get the scent off him for continuing to bang his
Yeah,
daughter.
maybe.
It's like,
I
oh
mean-
no, she's banging that guy. Like, but either way,
I have no nostalgia for the past.
either way, seriously,
none.
I was born in the wrong decade. It's like, which one are you talking about? There's only like two you possibly could want
If
to
you
be
ever
born
do
in.
time
Right, yeah.
travel, you never go back.
Anyone who says they're born in the wrong decade and that decade is pre-war, like pre-World
wrong.
War II, they're wrong.
They're wrong.
And honestly, they're really wrong if it's before 19. I mean, I guess if,
Unless they're just a white Anglo dude,
I guess,
they're
yeah, I
wrong
guess
about
if you
almost
wanna,
every
I guess
decade.
if you want to be white and go to a Beatles concert, that's fine.
Dude, yeah, unless you're like just a super waspy white dude and you want to go to like 1950,
Yeah.
and like just have some better ideas.
Also,
And
anyone
smoke
now,
indoors.
Yeah, smoke
anyone
indoors.
now that
That's
went
the
back,
only way. The only reason I would go back in time is to smoke indoors.
You can do that in Florida right now.
yeah.
No, I'm creating a time traveling machine and going back to the 50s.
There are cigar lounges you can go do that in here
I don't
today.
want a cigar.
Right now. Well,
He wants a Lucky Strike unfiltered.
That's fair.
In a
American
bar.
spirit.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so he would have been the only person that, like, it's the only thing that makes sense. They had to have seen someone they trusted to be lured out to the barn.
The luring thing is interesting.
They can't hear shit from inside the house.
Yeah.
There's also, clearly he has a key to the place. There was a missing key beforehand. The person obviously had like operational awareness of the house if they were able to tend to the farm too.
Seems like
So-
the only person.
Okay,
with a
here's the thing
motive.
though. Why tend to the farm? To buy yourself time?
Maybe to make it seem like someone lives
And
there.
wouldn't his kids have been aware that he was gone for like the days prior to him being like, hey, go check on these people?
Actually, they don't talk about his whereabouts before the murders.
Right. So,
I mean, one was his stepson, one was his kid.
because he was there presumably the whole time.
Yeah, then he would have had to come back and like, hey, go check out there.
Yeah.
That would have been real sus.
That's
to be
a
like,
pretty big hole in the plot.
Yeah, that
to be
is pretty
honest.
big.
Maybe he's just doing a common courtesy for the dead people. Just be like, I guess I'll just pick up the slack since you guys aren't going to be able to farm.
Yeah.
Either way, I think it's someone that the family would have had to have been familiar with, like very familiar with,
Right.
in order to be lured out there. Unless the devil did it, in which case
Well, let's
The
not
devil
rule
gun.
out aliens.
aliens could have done it.
Here's what I don't understand. Why didn't people look? Well, maybe they had an alibi, I guess, but you really can't take the coffee guys off the table.
You can't take anyone off the table, but you can't put anyone on it either.
Right.
There's no evidence enough to get. It's a perfect crime, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they could have figured it out, now, but
Now would have been easy.
yeah, but back then, I mean, it's the middle of fucking nowhere. So the really mysterious parts here, how did someone lure 4 people out to this barn without making much of a noise?
And it was one at a time.
And it was one at a time. It has to be someone they know.
I thought that you were saying it was like they got all 4 to come out. You know what I mean?
It's the Hansel and Gretel witch. Piece of candy.
They just kept dropping candy drops.
Yep.
Ooh,
Yeah.
candy.
Into
Ooh,
the barn.
candy.
Yeah. How else?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, what if it was really good candy too? Like just gumdrops. They've
Right.
never seen shit like
What
that.
if it's a
before.
time traveler with Skittles? They don't know what this thing is.
What if
but
it
it's
was
incredible.
Nicolas Cage did it?
Could have.
Could have done it.
We can't rule him out of this.
But yeah, no. So that's the story. At least they did do a bunch of students in I want to say like the 90s they reopened the case to try and like follow the evidence and like kind of cut up like the things they did wrong, and they actually narrowed it. They were able to eliminate every single person they investigated except for one person, and they won't reveal who that is because they don't want to offend the descendants of that person because they can't
Why?
prove that they're guilty.
What?
Yep, actually happened. They will not reveal who they believe it is.
So it's like in an envelope somewhere?
Yeah,
They didn't do it. The descendants didn't do anything.
no.
Okay,
but they don't-
actually, no, that makes sense. I totally changed my mind because here's why. They have no actual proof that the person did it. It's all theory.
Who cares?
And-
Are you tied emotionally to your great grandfather?
Well, it's probably the grandfather in the 90s. Be grandfather.
Not in the 20s.
Yeah, depending on it depends on their age. It
My
depends on
fucking
their
great
age.
grandfather was a piece of shit.
Okay, yeah, I guess I would have not been emotionally tied to a great grandfather.
But maybe someone else from the other side.
If it was a grandfather, I'd be pissed.
Well, actually, that whole clan's dead. So who's coming after you? Like either way. Yeah, they did that study though. I thought that was pretty funny. They were like, "We're not going to say. It's just
but
one of
we
the biggest mysteries in our country."
Why do it then?
That's what I don't.
never tell.
Just to be like, oh, they did stuff wrong, and if we had the technology today, we probably would have called it this guy. That's kind of presumptuous.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb.
Yeah. Real quick, too, just as a side note, I was going to do a story about the other Dyatlov Pass type incident today. I didn't realize this. That happened in 1990. So I wasn't going to do it. It would have been too recent.
I
anyway.
think no. So
the two things I was going to
the
do.
rule I like is 30 years.
So it would have been just in.
Yeah.
Okay, 30 years is fine. I won't. I still wouldn't want to do it.
We've
It was
done something more recent than that.
What we do?
Enron.
Oh,
Enron-
actually, ask historians, the Reddit subreddit or whatever. That's like really good, and you get answers from like real historians.
Yeah,
people that sort of shit.
it's an awesome
They
subreddit.
have a 20-year rule actually.
That's cool.
So 9/11 just came into play this year, essentially.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Must be a fun week on Ask Historians.
Yeah, right. But 20 years fine. I actually think if they do 20, I think 20 is fine with us.
We should just say before 2000. That's probably the
I agree,
easiest.
not this century.
Not this century, yeah.
Actually, we also did a fucking story from 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
We survived history.
We
The
survived.
freeze.
Oh, that's a fucking whatever one. Come on. We get a freebie every now and then.
Yeah, we all fucking had barely.
We didn't really have time.
I was living with another
a lot of people
family.
didn't have internet.
I lost my power
yeah.
for or not my power, my water for several days. You
funny-
were a literal refugee.
I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did. A thing just came out, though, on the Dial-Up Pass incident. I do want to have an update for anyone that listened to that episode. They're blaming it on slab avalanches.
Okay.
That explains, like,
Nothing.
one part of, like, 16 weird things that are around that case.
Yeah,
that
we
explains
said the
no
tents were-
radiation. That explains none of the what do you call it? The violation of the bodies or anything
Yeah,
like that.
tents being ripped from the outside.
Yeah, like,
Right. It just
or
explains.
from the inside.
Or yeah, from the inside.
Inside out, yeah. People being found in trees like 10 feet up.
The only thing it explains, I think.
Sure, but none of the
Avalanche put you in a tree, maybe, but
I mean, maybe like if they heard the avalanche coming and they cut their way out and they jumped up into the trees or, got flung up. Or,
oh shit, you just explained a lot of it, to be
yeah.
honest.
Yeah, but nuclear radiation
Right.
and tongues being, unless they, the contact biting of the tongue and,
Oh, you're
like
actually
chopping
explaining
up.
a lot more now.
Actually, maybe it was a slab avalanche.
Yeah, I
don't know.
think you just explained.
Yep.
Yeah, you.
No,
But the
that all
nuclear
sounds-
radiation does not explain.
That all
Is not
sounds very
explained.
It was
logical to me, so-
radioactive Yetis. Everyone knows that.
They started the avalanche, so yeah.
They didn't start
But
the fire.
interesting one though. I think it's called the Kamar Dubon incident. Everyone just kept like bleeding from the eyes and foaming at the mouth and dropping dead, and one person survived it. It was like a trek of like 6 or 7 people.
Okay.
Right around the time though that they were definitely testing. What is it? Coop might know the pronunciation of this. Was it Novichok? The nerve agent that they've been killing diplomats with in Russia.
Oh, tight.
Yeah,
tight,
which
tight.
does that.
Russia's
So
tight.
it's a heavy gas, so it lays dormant on the ground until people are like, oh, I'm cramping.
Yeah, and kick
Oh
it up.
shit, I'm dying.
Yeah, we're never going to have a shortage of either German or Russian stories
Yeah.
for this podcast.
No,
Especially during Halloween Horror Month.
Yeah.
no, it's
So-
real easy. I just literally had to look in the same era as you.
Yeah.
To find an equally gruesome and weird murder.
And I'm not ruling out Peter Curtin.
You know what?
Why
am.
not?
I am because that person successfully murdered 6 people. Peter
Right.
Curtin didn't have that kind of percentage.
And actually, I will rule him out because he was very, transparent about the people he murdered, and he would correct people in court.
He admitted to killing a swan when no one asked about
Yep,
it.
nobody asked
Yeah.
about that swan.
Yeah, I killed that swan.
He's like, I also beheaded a swan. They're like, guy, come on. Like, we don't
Yeah.
care. Leave the animal murder. So, what'd you guys learn?
Today?
Who's Hitler?
Well, it was Germany during 1920, so I think the Hitler of this story is Hitler.
Hitler is the
Yeah.
Hitler.
Hitler is the Hitler of this story, all
Yes.
things considered.
For sure.
He's on his rise to power at this point. No? Yes? No?
No, they weren't. So they were in 22.
Is he in jail?
Is he in prison?
He
Is
might
in
have
prison
been,
till,
he might have been writing
23?
Mein Kampf, which still makes him Hitler.
That actually makes him exceptionally Hitler in this story.
Yeah. But I guess if we want to go more, not so macro Hitler and go more micro Hitler, I think it's the dad.
That's definitely
The dad's the Hitler of this story.
Dan.
Yeah, because he causes all the issues, really.
Yeah.
Even if it is this Schlitterbahn character.
Schlitterbahn? Schlittenbauer?
No, Schlitterbahn.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they named the water park after him.
Yeah.
Schlitterbahn has also destroyed a child's head, so
So fucked. That's
accurate.
Actually, I wish that happened in the 90s because the story around that is fucking insane.
it's absolutely insane.
When was that? Was like 10 years ago, if that.
6 years ago.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
Honestly, it's a horrifying story.
the amount of negligence that went into that happening is dumbfounding.
I'm
There
not
is-
really stoked on ever going to a water park again.
Fuck that, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the one irrational fear I have is like water parks or roller coasters. I will go on them, and I do enjoy them, but especially when it's in the dark and it's inside, I have this irrational fear that I will get beheaded. By
Yeah.
the especially like Space Mountain.
Space Mountain. Oh, well, everything seems very close to you on Space
Yes.
Mountain. Yeah.
So, and I know they, compute for people much taller than me. I'm only 6 feet tall. I'm sure there's people that are on that ride that are like 6'8".
Or they don't. And you
I
just
don't know.
never hear about those
But I
people
duck.
because Disney covers up, dude.
I duck all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not. Your family's not solving a Disney murder.
No, Disney, no one dies at Disney. I don't know if you know
Yeah,
that.
that's that family who had that 2-year-old
Gator
eaten by
boy.
the gator.
Yeah. No, that
was on the family.
That's on the family.
That was on the
Let's
family,
go swim in this Florida pond with our
At
toddler at
sunset in mating season.
Yeah.
Like, there's signs everywhere that are like,
Alligators need to be stopped.
well, if you're an LSU Tiger, it's pretty easy to do.
Yep.
But, yeah. So that's it for this week.
night. What I learned I was going to say is, of course, you're not solving a murder in the 20s.
Yeah.
Nope.
And those kids that went and tried to do it in the 90s and think they got who it was, fuck you.
Yeah, those kids are dicks.
They're assholes. We're not going to tell you.
I don't think they did anything.
That's a great way to do a school presentation. We figured out the murder, like you're a criminology student. We figured out the murderer, but it wouldn't be appropriate to tell you.
They probably did like a suspect X, suspect Y
Yeah.
kind of thing, where it was like they couldn't name them. But
Yeah.
either way, hey, guys, check out our website, softcorehistory.com, if you want
Get the merch. We're gonna load up and
yeah.
we got some new designs on the way.
Dan's got some stuff spinning up right now.
Is
we got the
two
holidays
Irish
coming up.
Two Irish to die shirt coming soon?
We're working on that. We got to talk offline about some
Yeah.
future
Merch.
shirts too.
We want to do some holiday stuff real quick.
But we want stuff available for you to purchase for the holidays.
Yeah.
Maybe buy for a family member who listens to the podcast. Maybe
Yeah.
yourself.
Maybe
Treat
like
yourself.
maybe like a Thanksgiving shirt where the pilgrim's treating the Indian like a food delivery driver, and they're just like, all right, leave, no tip. Just something wildly offensive.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, glad we're going to do that one.
We're not.
Maybe
We're
we'll
not.
launch our
It's
mascot
a stupid
Softy,
shirt.
perhaps.
We're not talking about Softy. I fucking hate that dude.
Why do you hate Soft?
Softy's an asshole.
Well,
That's just like your opinion. He's pretty nice to me and Rob.
yeah, it's more. Yeah, it's what you're just being subjective, I think.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, please like and subscribe. Leave a 5-star review.
On the podcast, on Apple, iTunes, whatever it's called. I don't know. Podcast.
Whatever
app.
the thing. You know what to do at this point. Just review us.
Leave a review. Take your dad's phone and subscribe and review on that.
Ooh, please do that with your dad's
Go ahead
phone.
and listen to Iconoblast. They're about to do a 10-minute segment on this as well.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a lot more content for it now, though. Oh, wait, no, you already did it. My bad. Anyway, sorry, Coop. Coop, thanks for switching board. Please do listen to Iconoblast as well. For Dan Regester.
Subscribe to Drinking Bros History on the YouTube.
Yes, please do that. For Dan Regester and Rob Fox, I'm Jake Goldman.
And you just got soft served.